The night was supposed to be calm, but love and hip-hop never does calm. In one shocking moment, Sierra turned what should have been a casual conversation into a storm of confusion that left Yandy furious and fans stunned. Cameras caught Sierra stumbling through a half-drunk confession, claiming she had heard a recording of Mendeecees saying something suspicious. But instead of laying it all on the table, she danced around the details, refusing to share what was actually said. The result, a messy half-story that hit Yandy like a dagger, sparking questions about her marriage and loyalty in front of everyone. "What recording? What are you even talking about?" Yandy demanded, her voice rising as she tried to make sense of Sierra's cryptic words. But Sierra kept repeating, "I don't want to be the reason for a divorce," leaving Yandy even more enraged. To fans, it looked like the ultimate setup. A drunk friend stirring the pot with no receipts, no clarity, and no accountability. And when Yandy snapped back, emotions ran high. Accusations flew across the room, and the friendship these women once shared suddenly hung by a thread. Sierra's words slurred out like puzzle pieces, and the more she tried to explain, the less sense it made. She leaned across the table, eyes glassy, voice dropping low like she was revealing a state secret. "I heard something. I heard a recording of your husband saying something." The room went still. Yandy blinked twice, confusion washing over her face before the anger came rushing in. "Saying what?" Yandy demanded, her tone sharp, her patience thinning. But Sierra backpedaled, shaking her head as if she regretted ever bringing it up. "I don't want to get into detail, girl. I don't want to be the cause of no divorce." The cast gasped, and fans at home nearly screamed at their screams. How do you drop a bomb like that and then refuse to explain? It was the kind of half-confession that does nothing but create chaos. Yandy's nostrils flared, her body leaning forward as she pressed harder. "No, no, no. You're not about to sit here and throw my husband's name into some rumor without telling me exactly what you heard. Where's the proof? What recording? Who said it?" Sierra stammered, her words tangling together. I'm just saying there's things you might not know about." Yandy threw her hands in the air, exasperated. "Stuff things? You sound like a broken record. If you don't have facts, don't bring me nonsense." Viewers later said Yandy's reaction felt like the most real moment of the night. She wasn't just angry at the rumor, she was angry at the betrayal. This was supposed to be her friend, someone she trusted, and instead of clarity, she got a sloppy drunk monologue that painted her husband in a bad light. And it wasn't just Yandy who noticed. Castmates whispered under their breath, exchanging side glances. One person muttered, "She's pulling a Carly Red," a reference that sent shockwaves through the fandom. For years, Carly had built a reputation for stirring the pot with half-truths and messy storytelling. And now, Sierra was being crowned Carly 2.0 right before everyone's eyes. Fans online echoed the same sentiment. "Sierra acting like drunk Carly," one tweet read. Another said, "If you got receipts, show them. If not, keep it to yourself." Hashtags like #Carly2.0 and #NOC clarity started trending before the episode even ended. Back in the moment, Yandy's frustration only grew. She pulled out her phone, scrolling frantically as if trying to find texts or calls that could shut down the accusation. "Any information I need to know about my husband? I already know. You're not telling me anything new. What you're doing is messy, and I don't do messy." But Sierra wouldn't stop. Even in her confused state, she kept circling the same vague point. "I just think you should, be aware. Sometimes they be saying things you don't know." Yandy snapped, her voice rising. "Girl, I talk to my husband every single day. If he sneezes, I know about it. Don't come to me with sometimes men. Come to me with facts, with receipts. Otherwise, you're just trying to plant doubt." The tension was unbearable. The cameras zoomed in on every reaction, every whispered side comment. Carly herself sat back smirking, clearly enjoying that someone else was now in the hot seat. But she couldn't escape criticism either. Viewers at home tore into her latest appearance, saying her lips and fillers distracted from the storyline. Carly looking like a whole new person while Sierra tries to be her understudy. One fan wrote, "Through all of it, Yandy tried to hold her composure, but her voice shook with emotion. She had been through too much to let this slide. Do you know what happens when you throw out half stories?" She shouted. "You create drama for no reason. You give people the power to laugh at my marriage, to question my family. And you didn't even tell me straight to my face from the start. You wait until you've had 2 drinks and then drop hints like it's a game." Sierra's eyes watered, not sure if it was the liquor or the heat of the moment. "I wasn't trying to hurt you," she insisted. "I thought I was helping." "Helping?" Yi repeated incredulous. You call this helping? You're tearing down my house without even realizing it. If you really cared, you'd come to me privately, sober with facts. Not like this." By now, the energy in the room was boiling over. Fans watching from home described it as one of the most uncomfortable scenes of the season. Everyone looked uneasy, unsure of whether to intervene or let the women hash it out. Yandy's phone buzzed again, and she held it up as if proving a point. "This is my life. This is my marriage. If there's a problem, I will know about it before anybody else does. Don't play with me." But Sierra muttered again. I heard him say some things." Yandy shot to her feet, slamming her hand on the table. "Then say it. What did he say? Word for word. Don't dance around it." The room fell silent. Sierra blinked, fumbled with her words, and then shook her head. I just can't say it. I don't want it to come from me." That was the breaking point. Yandy's voice cracked as she shouted, "Then keep my husband's name out your mouth, because you're not just hurting me. You're hurting my kids, my family, my peace. And for what? A rumor you can't even back up." The intensity of her outburst left everyone shaken. It wasn't just about the rumor anymore. It was about betrayal, about friendship, about respect. The look on her face said everything. She wasn't going to let anyone play with her marriage. Not even someone she once called a friend. And that was how the night spiraled into chaos. One drunk confession with no receipts had cracked open wounds deeper than anyone expected. And the fallout was only just beginning. After that blow-up, the energy in the room shifted completely. No one could sit comfortably. No one could pretend this wasn't serious. The air was thick, like everyone was waiting for the next explosion. Some castmates quietly sipped their drinks. Others looked away. But the cameras caught it all. Yandy stood tall, her chest rising and falling quickly as she tried to regain her composure. Her hands shook slightly, and even though she was angry, there was hurt in her eyes. Dotsier sat slumped back in her chair, muttering something under her breath that sounded like an apology but landed more like an excuse. "I wasn't trying to start all this. I just thought you should know." Yandy turned on her, her voice trembling with fury. "No, what? You still haven't told me anything. You've just embarrassed me." "Embarrassed yourself, and for what? You said there's a recording, but you can't even say what's on it. Do you realize how messy that makes you look?" Sierra rubbed her forehead, the weight of her own words beginning to sink in. "I shouldn't have said nothing. I should have kept it to myself." The room erupted with whispers, cast members leaning toward each other to comment on what just went down. One person murmured, "She's definitely drunk. She don't even know what she's talking about." Another whispered, "Nah, she knew exactly what she was doing. She just didn't think Yandy would clap back that hard." Fans watching at home had their own theories. Some believed Sierra really had something and just chickened out under pressure. Others said she was simply looking for attention, using Yandy's marriage as a storyline, and plenty compared her to Carly again, saying she had officially earned the title of Carly 2.0. Yandy finally sat back down, shaking her head. "This is why I keep my circle small. People claim they're your friends, but instead of coming to you directly, they go around whispering, hinting, making it worse. If there was something I needed to know, I'd rather hear it straight up than through drunk riddles." The camera cut to Sierra's face, her eyes glassy, her lips pressed tight like she was holding back tears. She wanted to defend herself, but every word seemed to backfire. Later that week, the fallout spread beyond that dinner. Social media blew up with clips of the exchange. Fans flooding timelines with memes of Yandy shouting and Sierra stumbling over her words. One meme showed Sierra holding an empty cup with the caption, "No receipts, just vibes." Another had Yandy slamming the table with the line, "Say it with your chest, or don't say it at all." The storyline was everywhere. Bloggers, gossip sites, even casual viewers who hadn't watched in years tuned back in to see the chaos unfold. Some praised Yandy for standing her ground. Others accused her of overreacting. But what united everyone was disbelief at how poorly Sierra handled the situation. How poorly Sierra handled the situation. Behind the scenes, Yandy confided in a close friend, "I feel betrayed. I trusted her, and instead of protecting me, she made me look like a fool on national television. You don't play with people's marriages like that." "Not mine." Her friend nodded, warning her that this wouldn't be the last time someone tried to drag her relationship into the spotlight. Dotsier, on the other hand, tried to defend herself during a private conversation with another castmate. "I swear I wasn't trying to be messy. I just thought she should know what people were saying. But when I saw her reaction, I realized I should have just kept my mouth shut." Her voice cracked as she admitted, "I didn't expect her to go off like that." The castmate shook their head, telling her bluntly, You can't play with stuff like that. If you don't have proof, you shouldn't even bring it up. Now you look bad, and she looks like the victim. Meanwhile, Carly Red was loving every second of the drama. In her confessional, she smirked and said, "Everybody wants to call me messy, but look at Sierra. She out here stumbling and bumbling like she knows something, but she don't. She can't even finish a sentence. At least when I spill tea, I bring the whole pot." Those words added another layer to the storyline as fans debated whether Carly was right or just trying to redirect the spotlight. Either way, Sierra's reputation took a major hit, with even people who once supported her now questioning her motives. As the days passed, Yandy couldn't shake the feeling of unease. She knew she hadn't done anything wrong, but the damage was already done. People were whispering, speculating, and that was enough to put cracks in even the strongest foundation. She told Mendeecees what happened, her voice tight with frustration. She said, "There's a recording of you," but she wouldn't tell me what it was. She just threw it out there and walked away from it. Mendeecees frowned, shaking his head. "That's ridiculous. If she had something real, she would have shown it. People just want to see us break. They've been waiting for years for me to mess up, for you to leave. But I'm not giving them that satisfaction." Yandy studied his face, searching for any flicker of guilt, but found none. Still, the seeds of doubt had been planted, and that was exactly what made her so angry. "It's not even about me believing it. It's about the way it looks. Now everybody's going to think there's something to hide, and I can't keep fighting rumors that don't even exist." Mendeecees pulled her close, his voice calm. "Let them talk. Our truth is our truth." But Yandy wasn't convinced. To her, silence wasn't enough. She needed clarity. She needed proof. She needed reassurance that her friend hadn't just exposed something she didn't know about. At the next event, the tension boiled over again. When Yandy and Sierra came face to face, the atmosphere grew icy. Yandy crossed her arms, glaring. "So, are you ready to tell me what you really meant?" Sierra swallowed hard, her voice shaky. "I told you what I knew. I don't have anything else to say." Yandy scoffed. "Then you shouldn't have said anything at all, because now everyone's talking. Everyone's laughing, and my family is the one paying the price." The other castmates looked on, whispering to each other. One said, "She's right. This is all on Sierra." Another shook their head, murmuring, "Nah, Yandy's blowing it up too big." But the cameras caught it all, the raw emotions spilling across every face. The drama had grown beyond one sloppy confession. It had become a test of loyalty, a question of trust, and a battle between two women who once called each other friends. And as the season continued, the fallout would only spread wider, dragging in more castmates, more rumors, and more shocking revelations that no one saw coming. The tension from that confrontation didn't fade with time. It only grew heavier. By the next morning, blogs had already clipped the footage of Sierra slurring her words and Yandy firing back with fury. The internet was on fire. Fans flooded timelines with their takes, some dragging Sierra for being sloppy, others questioning if maybe she had been holding back real evidence. One viral post read, "Either spill it all or keep it to yourself. Nobody needs half a story." Another said, "Yandy is too classy for this. She deserves real friends, not drunk gossip." But not everyone was sympathetic. A different wave of comments accused Yandy of being too defensive, of pulling out her phone and scrambling for proof when silence would have been more powerful. One fan wrote, "She's doing too much. The more she tries to prove, the more guilty it looks." This split in opinion kept the conversation alive, dividing viewers and giving the storyline more fuel than anyone expected. Behind closed doors, the fallout started to hit harder. Yandy sat in her living room, pacing as she replayed the conversation in her head. Why would she even say that if she didn't mean anything by it? She muttered. Mendy, as calm as ever, sat back on the couch. "Because she's messy. You can't let her get to you." Yandy turned to him sharply. "But people are believing her. You don't understand. Once that's out there, it doesn't go away. Now, every time your name comes up, people are going to wonder. I don't want to spend the rest of my life defending something that never even happened." Mendeecees sighed, running a hand over his head. "You can't control what people say. You can only control how we move. I'm not entertaining it, and you shouldn't either." But for Yandy, it wasn't that simple. Her marriage had already been through the public eye, through trials, separations, and rumors. She had fought to keep her family strong and the idea of her name. Being dragged again without evidence was enough to make her blood boil. On the other side, Sierra was scrambling to do damage control. She sat with a friend, her head in her hands. "I didn't mean for it to get that big. I swear I wasn't trying to hurt her. I just thought she should know what I heard." The friend shook their head. But you didn't even tell her what you heard. You dropped a hint and walked away. That's worse. Now you look shady and she looks like the victim. If you had receipts, you should have shown them. If you didn't, you should have stayed quiet. Sierra's eyes filled with tears. I was drinking. I wasn't thinking. I thought I was being a friend. But her tears didn't erase the damage. Bloggers had already nicknamed her Carly Jr., pointing out how Carly Red had built a reputation for exactly this type of behavior. Sierra had spent years trying to build credibility, trying to show she wasn't like Carly. But in one night, she had undone all of it. The situation reached another boiling point when the cast reunited at a group brunch. The atmosphere was tense from the start, with everyone waiting to see if Yandy and Sierra would clash again. Yandy walked in with her head high, dressed to perfection, exuding an aura of calm strength. Sierra, on the other hand, looked uneasy, her eyes darting nervously around the table. Do it? Didn't take long before the tension cracked. One of the other women leaned forward and said, "So, are y'all going to talk about the elephant in the room, or what?" Yandy rolled her eyes. "There's nothing to talk about. She said something without proof, and I'm not wasting any more of my time on it." Sierra swallowed hard, her voice quiet. "I already told you I didn't mean to hurt. You know," Yandy snapped, her tone icy. "What you did was disrespect me. You disrespected my husband, my marriage, and my family. You can't come back from that with 'I didn't mean it.'" The table fell silent. Carly, ever the instigator, smirked and added, "See, that's why you don't play with people's marriages. You either bring the whole tea or you keep the kettle in the kitchen." Everyone laughed nervously, but Yandy wasn't amused. She leaned across the table, her eyes locked on Sierra. "Let me make this clear. If you ever bring my husband's name up again without proof, we're done. No friendship, no conversations, no nothing. Keep me and mine out of your mouth." Sierra's eyes welled up again, but she nodded, whispering, "Okay." Still, the damage was too deep to be patched up with a simple apology. Fans online dissected every second of that brunch, some saying Yandy was too harsh, others saying Sierra deserved it. One viral clip showed Yandy's glare with the caption, "Don't play with her marriage." As the storyline unfolded, even family members started weighing in. One relative of Yandy's was overheard saying, "She's been through enough. She doesn't need friends who stir trouble. She needs people who protect her peace." That sentiment echoed across social media, where thousands of fans rallied behind her, posting supportive comments and tagging her in messages of encouragement. Shot, but not everyone let it go. The rumor of the so-called recording lingered like smoke after a fire. Nobody had heard it, nobody knew what was on it, but the idea that it existed was enough to keep people talking. "Where's the tape?" became a trending question, with fans demanding answers from Sierra. She stayed quiet, offering no clarification, which only made her look guiltier in the court of public opinion. The speculation turned wild. Some fans theorized that the recording was fabricated altogether. Others insisted that Sierra really had heard something but was too scared to say it on camera. One post read, "She slipped up. She knows more than she's saying." And while the world argued, Yandy focused on holding her ground. She appeared in a confessional, her voice steady but emotional. "I don't care what anybody says. My husband has been by my